So do you have the little for the little video camera in the corner of your phone that you can, there's a line through it maybe?
Okay, guys, we're live on YouTube.
I'll get this set up eventually.
Mm,
I still haven't appeared on the screen, have I?
No, just your name at the moment.
Well, that's not a great loss.
Yeah, we don't all need to be seen, but yeah, I'm sure there's a button to be pushed there somewhere that,
There is, but for some reason. Okay, just a second.
Chris, I'm going to go ahead and put that information up on the screen in case anybody starts to dial in so they know how to call in if it's a member of the public.
okay, sounds good.
And you can just, when you open up the meeting and you give your spiel, you can just let me know when you want me to take this down. Just ask me to take it down.
9 minutes. Hey,
Aha.
way to go. All right, we're gonna admit Mary Ann. Mary Ann's connecting. That was just on
Chris, did I make you a co-host yet? I did.
Yeah, let me check.
So just a second, let me go back. Yes, I did.
It's just on a WebEx meeting. Just a whole different set of ways to do things. So, participants 5. Marianne's still connecting. That's interesting. I wonder if there's a problem on her end. Committee staff entered the waiting room. Reviewing presenter screen, 2 options. Rename, put in waiting room. Marianne, you there? Connecting. So we have a couple people connecting here. Okay, Marianne, you there?
I'm here.
All right.
Chris, once we get started, I'll turn my video off so people aren't just watching me in my mask here.
I should put mine on just for good measure.
So Chris, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure can.
Okay, but I'm not visible.
Yes, you are.
I am visible? Huh.
It looks like you're on
Chris?
twice.
Chris, I see a phone number, 406-926-2115 that wants to come in.
That's me.
Oh, that is you?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're
Right.
in via phone and video. I don't think you need to be in both ways, right?
Probably not.
Okay, well, I'm gonna put this phone in the waiting room then.
That's great. I'm trying to push, as Chris suggested, all the buttons,
Okay,
which doesn't work so well.
Chris, you could change your name to include your last name. Rename yourself. Perfect.
Well, 5 people are here.
It's Mr. McNall. So I've got you right now. You're also through McNall at universityofmontana.edu.
Yep. Thanks for your patience.
No problem. We all need it.
Well, yeah, because the other meeting didn't have a public component, so didn't have to do as much as you do here.
Right. We're live on the Missoula YouTube channel, so the whole world can view us currently.
Chris, it looks
Yeah.
like we're just a few minutes before the meeting started, and we most definitely do not have a quorum. Are you receiving emails from anybody that are having any hard time getting into the meeting?
Let me take a look here.
If they accidentally used the link from our practice meeting this morning, that link will not work to get them into this meeting.
That's the one I tried to use the one we're using now to get in this morning.
And it didn't work. It's a different meeting ID. So
Yeah.
I'm just a little concerned about that since we only have 2 people in the meeting right now and we're starting in a few minutes.
Yeah, Jeremy sent me the correct ID, the 960. So I'm sure he has that, and I know he was planning to attend.
Okay.
Right, and Jeremy was planning on attending. I know Robin said he would be late, and Gwen said she would be late. But we expect to see Michael and Josh and Jeremy. So there's one there. So there's Josh.
Did you admit that person, Chris?
Yeah, this is Josh. He's a member of the team. Major Nichols. I'm going to rename him. Hey, Josh.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Josh.
Looks like Amber Cheryl's trying to get in.
Yeah, all right. Chris,
Hi, Chris.
thanks for showing up today.
Yeah, happy to. How did the call go, the trial go earlier?
Oh, it's lucky we had one.
We've done a lot of, and are continuing to work on certain aspects, but we've certainly had a lot of trials before we went live for City Council on Zoom.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
And we're still learning some different things that as the chairs we need to consider, so.
Yeah, well, luckily we've got Kristen and Marianne helping us out here. And
Yeah, they've got it dialed in.
that's great. I think otherwise we would be don't know where we'd be. So. So you figured out how to run the city's business sitting in your living room, huh? That's
Yeah.
a good deal.
So weird. Well, I went down yesterday and sat in a conference room because I was just needed to get out of the house because we had like 7 hours or something of straight meetings on Zoom. And I'm tired of my house. But then I was having internet problems there. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I have yeah, I don't know why that was though.
Yeah,
so maybe
that should be good there, you'd think.
better than my house. Yeah. Well, I don't have anyone in my house right now. Normally I've got kids and dogs and sometimes my husband. And so.
And the dogs really use up the bandwidth. Those dogs, they're always
No,
screaming.
I was just saying like loudness. Like
Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
dogs are loud. They're really unruly. They bark at everything. And anyway,
Yeah.
hi, Scott.
Hi.
And Chase is with us. Hey, Chase.
Oh, I don't see.
Hi,
Hi,
everyone.
Okay. Hi, Chase and Josh.
Hi, Amber.
It is 12:01 and we are being broadcast over YouTube.
All right. So I'm going to.
Chris, let me know when we're ready and I'll start a scribe.
Okay. I'm going to read the welcome script that was provided by Marty. So it says, welcome to the Energy and Climate Team meeting.
Oh, wait, we're starting. Hang on.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, we are calling to order.
All right. I'm calling to order the regular meeting of the City of Missoula Energy and Climate Team for today, June 11th, 2020. This meeting will proceed from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock Mountain Time. I've got a little welcoming script if anyone else is out there. Let me bring in Jeremy here. Welcome to the Missoula Energy and Climate Team meeting. All the meeting body members are attending from remote location. We're holding this meeting virtually, so we'll be doing public comment a little differently than usual via a live call-in phone line, just like calling into a radio show or making a pledge during a telethon. I'm going to ask our meeting host to share our public comment call information now, and in a few minutes, it's up on the screen. Thank you, Kristen. In a few minutes, when you call in, you'll be in a virtual waiting room until it is your turn to comment. We will take calls in the order received. Because this works just like a live call-in, be sure to mute your TV or computer when you join the meeting, or there may be an echo. I'll be observing a speaking limit of 3 minutes so we can hear everyone. So let's get started. I'd like to call the meeting, the Energy and Climate Team to order. We need to do a roll call. Okay.
So Scott McNall is here.
All right, somebody else. I'm going to do a roll call. Scott McNeil, yeah, is here. Jeremy Flesh.
Here, present.
Chris Rowe, and I'm here. Josh Nichols.
Present.
Robin Saha. I don't think he's present. Michael Dorshort. I'm not going to get that one right. Not here. Okay. Gwen Langford Spencer, not here. Brian Kearns.
Here.
Okay. And also present is our council representative, Amber Sherrill. And also present today is the city staff energy person, Chase Jones. Okay, so with that, we're to announcements. I don't really have any announcements today. I'll just say generally that we've got just 1 hour to go through our non-action and action items, as well as public comments. So we'll just move right along. So the next item up is public comments. the way this works is there's a phone number that we'll call in on that was provided on the screen at the beginning of the meeting. And there it is. So the call-in number for anybody who is watching and wishes to make public comment is 1-253-215-8782. And then make sure you enter the ID, the meeting ID, which is 960-049-3694. And because there's a delay with the City of Missoula's YouTube broadcast, we're going to take about a minute just to see if anybody is trying to get in. And so they'll hear me a minute from now, and then they'll call and they'll come into our waiting room and all of that. So we've got to, as somebody said earlier, it's going to be like watching water boil.
Oh, boy. Hey, Chris, your mic is a little funny. Maybe it could just be the speaker on my computer, but I don't know if everybody else is hearing Chris clearly, but there's a breakup periodically. Maybe the mic is moving around.
Yeah, so it's right here. So I think I tried to get it so it wasn't moving around as much.
That's better.
Okay. Okay, I think our minute is up. I don't see anybody in the waiting room, so I don't think we have any public participation at this point. So we're going to move on to number 5, non-action items. And the first one is the report on the tour the Missoula wastewater treatment plant. So I'll just briefly, and I know that Josh was there and Jeremy was there. So after I've given a little summary of what I found, you guys please feel to jump in and summarize anything else you might thought was useful. Overall, the wastewater treatment plant here in Missoula seems to be a very well constructed, well operated facility. We were really impressed by the technology they use, the performance of the system, in general, just how clean it was, and how well they were working toward reducing greenhouse gases and other carbon emissions. So one of the things that they have recently added was a new trash screen to remove trash. That's your first step. But in that building, it's all now LED lights. So they've got a reduction in carbon that way. And when you move into the main core of the wastewater treatment plant, there is energy use mostly through pumps. This is a very, very pump intensive type operation. So there's a big electricity use. And not only at the wastewater treatment plant, but upstream, where they have all the pump stations that pump the waste from all parts of town to the wastewater treatment plant. So a huge amount of electricity that way. The next sort of element that comes through is that most of the solids are removed through a clarifier that's been in use since I was born in 1962. And it still works great, and it removes, what did he say, 85, 90% of all solids are removed at that point. And from there on, you've got a whole series of mechanisms to remove the last 5, 6, 7%. You know, the bacteria, the phosphorus, you know, the nitrogen, and so that was actually the most intensive part, is to get the last little bit, and that's why we introduce bacteria, anaerobic bacteria to digest stuff, and then that water once it's been completely cleaned, is chlorinated before it's discharged to the Clark Fork River most of the year, and during the summer, some of it is discharged to the Poplar Farm. One of the things that I found the most interesting, most fascinating about this is all the solids that come through, either that initial clarifier or through the subsequent treatment systems, all get transported through automatic systems to these large methane digesters. So these are large anaerobic digesters. So all the solids go in there and spend days in there. And when they're in there, bacteria is working on them. They're generating all kinds of methane. That methane is captured and then run through a generator. And so that generator then provides a significant portion of the electricity for the plant. And so that was really cool. And then the reason these bugs have to digest in here is they're full or potentially with harmful bacteria that, came through the sewage system essentially. And so as those bacteria sit in these digesters, it cooks and it generates heat. And that heat that generates is sufficient to actually kill off the pathogens. And so it's like, you don't have to treat it with a chemical. You just let it sit there and through its own digestive processes, it actually kills pathogens. So once that's done, then they take those solids, run them up a conveyor belt and dump them right next door to Garden City Compost. So a Missoula run for-profit operation where they take all that material and then they can mix it with other yard waste and various things to make a tremendous product where, the remaining carbon in those solids is then basically captured. It's long-term captured through biosolids. And those biosolids can be used for fertilization. They said most of those solids are currently used, the compost for mine reclamation. But I've seen the city is now advertising on the radio and they have a billboard, and I saw advertising in the Missoulian to try to increase their sale of that because they have a tremendous amount of it. And so trying to create a market. So one of the cool things, for us to think about is, how can we help the wastewater treatment folks, the Garden City Compost folks, sell more of this stuff and then also bring more yard waste in and create a real enterprise where, the vast majority of the carbon that comes through that wastewater treatment plant is then captured either through the methane and generation of electricity or subsequently the biosolids that are used as compost. So anyways, that was my thing. I thought it was a great tour, and I don't know if Josh or Jeremy, you guys have any other thoughts on it?
A great summary, Chris. I don't have anything to add to that other than I encourage those who haven't been there to check it out. I was pleasantly surprised at how much I got out of touring that operation.
Yeah. Chris, I would agree with what Josh said. I don't have anything to add to your excellent summary of our tour. One thing that it did, on a little bit of a side note, it did increase my interest in taking a tour of the compost facility and or the landfill, because I think those are both areas where we can have a positive impact as well.
Thank you, Jeremy. Yeah, it's a good point. I'd also like to get a better handle on the upstream end and the pump stations. Everyone saw that construction along Reserve Street there toward Brooks. Took about a month and a half. They put in a brand new lift station, and that must be made out of really nice stuff. That was a huge, huge project, one of those lift stations. And yeah, and just to see how that works, how big the motors are, how often they run, what sort of volume, and get a sense of electricity use on the upstream end as well. So I think that's another thing to add to our list, along with the compost and the landfill, is getting a handle on that. So fantastic. All right. Moving on to item B, And I know Michael isn't here, but Amber is. So I don't think we have too many more updates about the youth team members. I know Michael had been working on a number of items, trying to make contact with appropriate people there, with the high schools. I had mentioned that I was going to work on like an e-notebook for these participants. And I know Amber's working on getting our bylaws changed, but because of the school year ending the way it did, the virtual school year, it just seemed reasonable to sort of postpone that for now. We'll see if we can try it again in the fall. It's kind of an unknown in terms of how we're going to get these youth team members on board, but that doesn't negate the fact that we still need to be planning and getting ready for this stuff. So does anybody have anything else to add? I know you, Paul, do you have anything else to add on the bylaws?
I couldn't quite hear you, but I'm guessing you asked me.
Yeah, I was asking you if you had been working on the bylaws.
Yeah.
That was your end.
Yeah, so, and I was raising my hand. I don't know if you're doing that in this meeting,
Yes.
but I was raising my hand virtually. So yeah, so we've obviously had a couple of busy weeks in committees. So my thought was, because I know we're gonna have a really busy week next week, that I would put the referral in for the week after, which means at the Parks and Conservation meeting. I don't have my calendar in front of me, but not this next Wednesday, but one more Wednesday from then, would put those bylaws in. The changes that were given to me, I'm assuming I have the most up-to-date bylaws from Gwen. And then if Chris, you or whoever you guys think would be either available or good to come in and speak a little bit about the committee and about the bylaws at that meeting, I think that would be great. So hold on. I'm gonna open my calendar and just so I have the date in front of me. And you tell me if you want me to hold off on it anymore. I don't think there's an urgency to do it, except it's been done. It's been done and we've been waiting. So why not do it? But I think, as far as my understanding is that, that getting those youth members on, which is the biggest change in those bylaws, that notice will go around once school starts. I mean, unless there's some plan with this summer to try to get to the kids, it's a weird time.
Yeah, that seems unlikely that we'll get to the kids between now and the beginning of the school year. It would be nice if we could actually make it happen this coming school year, instead of having to wait till the end of this school year.
Right, maybe at the beginning of the school year. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking the 24th of June is the date.
Okay.
That I was thinking. I don't have a time or anything for that yet, but it would be sometime that day. I've already actually had a couple of kids that heard through the grapevine that this was happening reach out to me. So I've got a little list. It's a short list, but I've got a little list going for you. And I know one of them, I think you've seen an application from him before, but he's tracking this and hoping it's going to happen. He's pretty excited about it.
Right.
Yeah, so unless there are any, I kind of came in once the bylaws were already rewritten. But I'm happy to send that around and make sure that those are the ones you guys had reviewed. But I think I've got the most updated ones from Gwen.
Yeah, I think so. And the team approved those changes to the bylaws. So there's no need for any additional updates. That was an action taken on our part already. So
Perfect.
I think we just keep moving along. And
Okay.
and I know some of the other folks have expressed interest, and I think maybe we'll sort of a list of specific actions that are going to need to be taken between now and beginning of the school year to make this happen. I think right now we've got a sort of a general sense of what needs to happen, but we need to make it more specific and maybe able to share a document or two about generating that list.
And I would suggest, I have 2 high schoolers. So I would suggest, there are a couple clubs. I know there's a club at Hellgate Save. Can't remember what it stands for, but it's an environmental action club. And just a couple other clubs that you might consider as far as, looking for active, interested members. And I'm assuming the other high schools have something along those lines. Just a
Yeah,
thought.
yeah, exactly. Oh, and I did want to respond. We'll make sure somebody's there for the June 24th meeting at Parks and Rec, or maybe more than one. I'll coordinate with Jeremy to make sure that that happens. We'll send out a note to everybody once it's on the schedule. But yeah, we'll definitely want to have somebody there. I know I've got a project getting ready to start, and I may or may not be in South Dakota in the next week or two, but we'll see. We'll make sure we get somebody there.
Amber,
Yeah.
Chris, can I just ask a quick question? Amber, do you know if those parks and conservation meetings are happening remotely, and or when would we find out the time on June 24th?
So we should find out the time. They are happening remotely. I've
Okay.
not heard anything about us going back in yet. So I would plan on remotely, which we can send a link and do it this way, and you'll come in as a presenter. And we will find out the time, I believe, on Friday, the 19th.
Okay. Are they generally in the morning or afternoon, or does
Art-
it vary? Just
it
from a
varies.
scheduling perspective?
Yeah, it varies anywhere from generally 9 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. Is there a scheduling time that would be better for you if you're going to be the presenter? Because I can request that.
Yeah, I don't have my schedule in front of me, and generally I can schedule things out, when
Okay.
when there's enough time. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Do
I would
you
say
have a
just not right now. I will check my schedule, and Chris and I'll coordinate, just offline to figure out who might be there and things like that.
That's great. Okay, that sounds good.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Sorry, we don't know earlier. That makes it a little hard. I understand.
No problem.
Thank you, Amber. A quick housekeeping note, something I forgot to mention. On your Zoom meeting screen, if you've clicked the item on the bottom, there's that little set of commands there. One of them says participants. If you you'll see the list of participants on the right side. And if you go all the way down to that page, next to where it says mute all or something, there's 3 little dots, a little button you can push. And inside that window is an ability to raise your hand, which Amber and I didn't notice, but I'm going to get better. But if I'm talking or other people are talking and you want to be recognized and recognized in the sense that we know who's talking, who's presenting, trying to make this correct for anybody who might be listening or watching outside of this group, it can't hurt to raise your hand, and that way you can be formally recognized. So just a little housekeeping thing I forgot to mention. Okay. So the next item is an update on the 100% clean electricity MOU, and if there are other items. We have not had a chance to talk to Chase Jones in a while, and I know he's been spending a lot of time on this, and there's probably some other items like his annual energy reporting and whatnot. So I'd like to recognize Chase Jones from the city of Missoula to give us an update on that MOU and other items that he thinks might be worth knowing. So Chase.
There, good afternoon. Can everyone hear me? My internet sometimes is a little glitchy too, but I think it's working well today. Awesome, great. Yeah, thanks. It has been a while, and I am so pleased to see all of you and have the opportunity. It's super timely to give you an update and have a discussion about this 100% clean electricity MOU jointly with the county with Northwestern Energy. I have to say, just as a quick note, I have been on a ton of Zoom meetings and I love the backgrounds, and there are some really interesting ones in this group. Jeremy, I'm looking at you, but I hate to say, or maybe I'm happy to say, Brian Kearns, you win not only the day, but maybe like the past month at least. I love that background. So just a little side note. So,
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I just said thank you.
Yeah, totally. So, you know, I think I'll start at a really high level because I don't know exactly your depth of knowledge, and then we can dive in. I'm guessing you have read it and that you have a pretty good idea of what's contained within the MOU, just seeing your resolution this morning. I didn't know a resolution was being developed, but I think that's a great thing. I'm grateful for that. It just indicated that you had seen it and read it. So in the interest of time, I'll just start with super high level. So, you know, we have 100% clean electricity initiative, which, you know, we can't just get there with one piece. And so we're moving several pieces forward at the same time. However, working with Northwestern Energy is a major piece. To get to 100% clean electricity, we're going to have to catalyze and move forward some large systemic change with our utility. And Northwestern Energy currently serves roughly 95% of those electricity needs in our community and within the boundary as part of this comprehensive 100% clean electricity initiative. So after that resolution was passed, we entered discussions right away with Northwestern Energy to start with just outlining and articulating our relationship, our shared and individual goals, some big, broad bucket and focus areas that we can agree and state to work together toward our 100% clean electricity resolution, some guiding principles that will act as North Stars that we can keep going back to guide all of that work when we do get there, and then a timeline to kind of keep us on track and to be really transparent with both our elected officials and our community, of which both, you know, have been the reason to do this work and have moved it forward. So that's the big, broad content of the MOU, and we can certainly dive in. Where we are right now with that is we have a draft out. It is available and has been for public review and comment. And it looks like you already know about the Engage Missoula page. But we created that page to not only solicit feedback from the public on this MOU, but we intend that to be the repository for all of these steps and a bunch of these steps, because again, we don't want to do it sort of at some mahogany table behind closed doors. We really want it to be a community effort and want to gather and incorporate community feedback. So I hope that you've been to Engage Missoula. I'm happy to share my screen if that would be helpful for those who maybe haven't seen Engage Missoula, and I could go through that. But the comment tool there is the survey tool that is on that page. And that survey tool is specific to that 100% MOU. Given that I said that this MOU is just a start, it's very high level. You know, I want to point out that the details of exactly how we're going to implement the big, broad buckets that we outline and articulate in the MOU, they're coming next. And so I think it's important to kind of talk about what the MOU is and what it isn't. And what it isn't is that detailed work. But as you can see on the Engage Missoula site, and what we've planned all along is this MOU frames the relationship and frames the big, you know, high level focus areas. And then right away, hopefully after adoption and signing by both the City of Missoula, Missoula County, and Northwestern Energy, we'll get to the pieces listed on that timeline on Engage Missoula, which are the implementation plan. And that implementation plan is directly attached to our work with Northwestern Energy and that MOU. It puts the detail to that. And then simultaneously, we have in motion the idea to move forward a community roadmap toward 100% clean electricity, because we know that the community wants to be engaged, and we also want to simultaneously move other pieces like the promotion of energy efficiency, the ability and knowledge and convenience of adding rooftop solar, both to commercial businesses and residents and households, and other pieces that lie within the community and lie sort of outside or at least in support or complementary to our efforts with Northwestern Energy. We need to move all of those along. But back to the 100% clean electricity MOU, just so you know that timeline, like I said, it's open for review and comment to be sent through that Engage Missoula site, through those tools that I mentioned. And our goal is to have it in front of City Council jointly with the Board of County Commissioners at a Monday night full City Council meeting on June 22nd. And so that comment period will be open until then, and open through the meeting, obviously, as a public meeting. Northwestern Energy will be there to speak for their portions of it. And we look forward to both of those elected bodies and the public considering that for adoption and signing. So I might, in the interest of time, leave it there as high level, and happy to dive in to any details that the committee would like, or answer any questions you might have.
Thanks, Chase. Let's folks ponder that. One of the questions I heard from another member was—
Chris, we can't hear you.
I'm having a hard time hearing you, Chris. Yeah, sorry.
Make sure. No?
I think it's your internet connection.
Yeah. So I can talk to the mic a little closer. Let's see here. So yeah, I know my screen isn't coming up here as being the one who's talking. Darn it. Okay, so Chase is sharing his screen. No luck.
Just in the meantime, I thought I'd share the screen. This is the Engage Missoula site.
Chris, may I?
Yeah. Scott, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Real quickly, Chase, there's a lot of good work here, but I've got a couple of comments. First, it's a really general one, and I don't think everybody's going to agree with this. But I think the MOU is a little generous to Northwest Energy, and I'll be specific about that. The second thing is the goals of the city and Northwest Energy don't really align in terms of the dates that you've got. So you've got a date by which the city wishes to achieve carbon neutrality, and then the one for Northwest Energy later in the document, I think, is 2045. Second, I'm not really sure why we would need to endorse a statement that's designed to provide, how do I want to say this? Future benefits for Northwest Energy. I know you have to partner with Northwest Energy, but some of the whereases, for example, the whereas that they partnered with the school district and put up solar panels. Well, they didn't hook the solar panels up to the schools. They did give a small donation to the schools, but even better would have been the use of those solar panels to provide electricity for the schools. So I think some of the whereases, as I said, are overly generous, and the document as it reads, you need to align the timelines for both Northwest and the city. And as you also know, there are some folks in the larger community who would rather pursue a Missoula Utility District with the interesting acronym of MUD. 350 Montana also finds the document a little too generous to Northwest Energy, which should be no surprise.
Thanks, Scott. Chase, do you want to get a chance to respond to any of that?
Sure. Yeah, and none of these are a surprise, and frankly, things that we have talked about quite a bit in our work to develop this with Northwestern Energy, and also in conversations with the other advocacy groups, including 350.org and the Sierra Club, among others. So I guess just to go down your list, and I'm taking notes. First, I'd love and encourage you to please submit your comments through that tool on Engage Missoula. It's just easy. It's the easiest way to organize all of them.
Right, but you're basically asking our commit. I can do that, of course, but the purpose of this committee, is it not to take a position on this MOU?
We're proposing to, this is Chris again, we're proposing to take a stand on this MOU. It's not a requirement, but it's what we're going to discuss in one of our next items. But for now, yeah, there's a good question as to what our official role is, but at this point, there isn't really one.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Chase, but I can do that as an individual citizen, and there are a lot of things I can do as an individual citizen. But when this comes before the committee, I'm arguing that the committee should take a position.
Fair enough. And I was going to finish and say I'm taking notes in your comments in person. So thank you for that. So in terms of dates not aligning, you know, that was a date that we set and we set with our community and with the city council and the Board of County Commissioners, that date being 2030. Northwestern Energy set their own goal for 2045, and that's a carbon intensity goal, which is a different goal than our 100% clean electricity goal. And so I recognize that those are different in terms of dates, and they're actually different goals as well. And I guess I would say the only thing in terms of goal setting that the city and the county have control over are our own goals that we've adopted. And you know, I can certainly forward your comment about 2045 not being a preferred goal from the perspective of this committee. But they have been unwilling to change that date. And you know, that goal is in their control, but happy to send that feedback upstream to them. In terms of the partnering with the schools, I think we agree that statement is a bit out of place in this MOU. They did, I guess, put up solar panels at each of the 4 public high schools and made a $25,000 donation to MCPS to develop a curriculum around that. So hopefully students can have access and learn from that.
This is free advertising, and it's misleading. That's my personal position.
Okay. So again, we talked a lot about these points, and in the end, we didn't choose that one to sort of stop the process over in the MOU. They wanted that to be in there, and it was a compromise that we made to move the document forward. And then in terms of the Missoula Utility District, that's the first time I've heard that specific name and that acronym. But the idea of not working with Northwestern Energy and going straight to in the energy world what's called municipalization, you know, that is not an option that any of our leaders for both the city and county want to pursue first. they want to pursue working with Northwestern Energy and changing those systems in that partnership, and giving that our full effort and all of our due diligence first before we considered that option. But again, I appreciate your comment, and it's one we've heard before.
Yeah, it's a tough one, where you want to engage them, but you don't want to give them a free pass either. And we know it's a challenging road there, as we've seen with our public utility, that they're not always willing to engage at the level we want. So yeah, it's a tough one, and we'll continue to talk about it as we move toward this the resolution that we have. Before we go on, I want to note that 2 additional board member or team members joined us. Langford joined us, so she's now as a board member, and Robin Saw has joined us as a member of the Missoula Energy and Climate team. So thank you guys for joining us. So back to Chase's presentation. Is there anybody else who has any questions or comments on what's going on and how the city and the county are approaching this? Yeah, I think it's a really big deal. From my standpoint, what I want to, we want to be very supportive of the idea. There's obviously some concerns there relative to how this thing is going to work. We don't want to just hand Northwest and Energy an opportunity to not do anything by not, putting our foot down enough. But at the same time, if we don't engage them, we're not going to get anything at all.
Right.
So we're in a bit of a challenge there, I think, in how to proceed. I do hope, from the standpoint of the Energy and Climate team, that through the implementation of the plan on your scheduled dates there, the development of the implementation plan, which is one of the next things after the signatures occur, we would be part of that effort. The implementation plan completed by September 30th, 2020. So I look forward to having a role for the Energy and Climate team on that development of that plan.
Thanks for that. And just to piggyback, and then Brian, I see your hand. Those dates, and in particular that September 30th date, this is a draft from pre-COVID-19, and so we intend, when we refer this to City Council and the Board of County Commissioners, to provide an updated draft based on the comments that we've heard until then. And we may and likely will push that date into the future for a couple months in respect to the couple of months that we lost due to COVID-19.
Okay, thanks, Chase.
I want it to be realistic, and September 30th feels pretty close all of a sudden at this point.
Right, we're having our first meeting in 3 months. All right, so we had comments from 2 people. First up, Brian Kearns.
Yeah, thanks for that overview, Chase. Just curious, who are you negotiating with on Northwestern side?
So Northwestern Energy created a position on the heels of our 100% clean electricity resolution, because they saw the writing on the wall that maybe we were the first, but we certainly wouldn't be the last in Montana. And so they moved a person over from their supply side team. His name is John Bushnell, and they created a position to work with communities on these initiatives. And he has been, and since other communities, specifically Bozeman and Helena, have adopted similar goals, and we're working at it here in Missoula, but also from a statewide perspective with the utility, with those partner cities. There have been others, but John is the primary point of contact, and he's the liaison to Northwestern Energy's executive team, which I won't pretend to know all of the people on that, but Bob Rowe, the CEO, is on the executive team, obviously. and he's been involved, as well as Bobby Schroppel, who has a very long title, but she is the president of sort of the customer side of things. And some of their legislative affairs folks have been involved as well.
Excuse me, Chase, this is
Contact and
Mary Ann.
liaison is John Bushnell.
Is it Bushnell, Bushnell?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Just a quick follow-up to Brian's question. This is Chris again. Is there anybody from the state of Montana that's involved in any of this?
So the state of Montana hasn't been involved in this MOU portion, as it is an agreement between the city and the county and Northwestern Energy. In some of the sort of other work around this with the utility, they have. And specifically, there was a group that actually the Public Service Commission mandated Northwestern Energy form around the development of a green tariff. That was a result and a finding of the most recent rate case. And I and Diana Manette, my counterpart at Missoula County, have been participating in the development of that and that group. The State Energy Office, which is housed at the Department of Environmental Quality, was one of the interveners and what now is called a stipulating party. And they've been involved in that work.
Okay, thanks. Next up, Jeremy.
Chris, I really like the discussion and I'd like to dive in deeper, but I also just want to keep our eye on the clock because it looks like we only have about 12 minutes left or so. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Jeremy. So, Chase, if you could stay with us, let's move on to item 6, action item, and maybe based on this, we'll see what we do. But the action item for today is to take a look at the MOU and then propose. At least I put out for proposal. It hasn't been formally put out there or seconded, so it's still very informal. A resolution in support of that MOU. So everyone's hopefully had a copy of that document, and I've had a chance to read the draft MOU. I can go through it quickly. But basically, it's similar to what we've seen with other resolutions. It's a resolution in support of the Memorandum of Understanding regarding clean energy goals between the City of Missoula, Missoula County, and Northwest Energy. And then it's got the whereases that basically say that the Energy and Climate Team has been involved through the Energy Conservation and Climate Action Plan, and that the city and county have developed a 100% clean electricity goal. And there's a whereas about the general direction that the City of Missoula is taking toward conservation and energy related efforts and carbon reduction. And so then we mentioned our team in there, and then therefore be resolved that this team supports the implementation of that MOU. So that's kind of where it stands. We can open for discussion. Ready to make it formal to ask for approval of this resolution. Let's get some initial take from folks on what they think as to whether we'll do this today or whether it's a good idea at all. So let me open the floor. Make sure if you have something to say, let us know who you are, or try to do it so we're not over each other.
Hello. This is Robin. I just was wondering, I may have missed it. I apologize, I was late. Since this is a draft, it has the potential to be changed some more, I take it. I mean, maybe that's a question for Chase, but so I guess I'm just wondering about the merits of endorsing a draft plan, and if we should wait till the language is finalized.
Yeah.
I guess I I'm leaning towards probably the latter, but I'm not sure. I'd like to hear what other people think.
Great. Maybe I'll send this over to Chase and see, have a sense yet as to whether there'll be any substantive changes to this MOU. I know you're still taking comments, but is it starting to look that way, or how is that proceeding?
Yeah, so I don't anticipate any substantive changes from the feedback. I think, I don't know if I characterize this as a substantive change, but we have heard pretty loudly that we need to be more upfront with climate change. And so I anticipate in the next draft, the substantive changes being a sort of more upfront statement about climate change in the whereas section. And then the other change that I anticipate, aside from just some cleanup language, we also have heard that it's riddled with jargon, and I'm not surprised because the energy world has a ton of jargon, as does government. For instance, there is a statement in there about demand side management, or DSM, and folks who even had a pretty high level of literacy in energy and climate issues thought that that term really didn't mean much to most folks. And so I feel like that was an example of an important piece of feedback, and one that we're simply going to change to a more familiar and understandable word like energy efficiency. And then I did mention the schedule change and likely bumping that September 30th date for the implementation plan forward a couple or a few months. Up to December 1st is in discussion. The referral process to City Council for a June 22nd meeting, the deadline is the 18th by noon. And so, that's when we'll have that final draft. And it's a really interesting dance because, again, the city and county certainly own this MOU, but this MOU is also with Northwestern Energy, and they're their own big organization with bureaucracy and politics. And so we've this whole time, including all the way up to June 22nd, we'll be dancing that really fine line to make sure that we get it all in and give our public the proper notice.
Yeah.
The changes that I anticipate, though.
Yeah, so to go back to Robin's point here, one of the things is, and maybe these deadlines are a little too tight because we don't see the final until 3 or 4 days before the city council is requested to act on it. That doesn't seem to give enough time to the city council, first of all, and then certainly we wouldn't have a chance to review it, pass a resolution on it, that then could go to the city council in advance of their review and potential approval. So, so if we don't pass this now, there won't be an opportunity because we don't have a regularly scheduled meeting to approve a resolution between now and the 22nd. So it's a good point that some things might change. So maybe we don't want to pass the resolution, but if we don't, a resolution might not be as useful because basically one of the reasons for this is to get it to the city council so they can see what the direction we believe should go forward. So it's a tough quandary there. I don't really have an easy answer for that. Maybe Robin, can you step back in on the discussion here, what you're thinking?
Sorry, I was muted. I think maybe we could, under this situation, if there's not major substantive changes, just say we're in support of the draft resolution and leave it at that. I don't know. The other possibility is I don't know if we can vote online without having a meeting. No, we can't. Okay.
Oh, nope.
So, but I guess I just want to know what other people think. We should just make a decision on this quickly, I think.
Yeah, we've got minutes. So next up is Brian.
Yeah, I think we can hold another meeting, can't we? Right before.
Regularly scheduled, we have to schedule it, set it up in the Zoom system. So yeah, but it would have to be a properly noticed meeting.
No, Chris, this has been a properly noticed meeting. The Zoom functionality allows for that. This is how city council does it. You all, as long as you have a quorum, you can take a vote.
But what about having another meeting?
You would have to do, yeah, you would have to announce it, give 48 hours notice in that. Oh, you're talking about having a separate meeting.
Right, once the
Oh, I see.
once the revised draft MOU is put together, so that we can see what changes are and
Yes.
basically make this resolution, this recommendation to the city council.
Understood.
But there's one other thing I wanted to comment on, and that was the demand side management. I specifically like that language. I think when you use energy efficiency, it moves away from very specific actions that demand side management warrants. And I think that's an appropriate and important aspect of this type of work.
Right, maybe we can just use it plainly, describe it. Josh?
Amber, didn't you have something to say too?
I was raising my hand virtually again. I'm used to that from city council. So Chase, I'm just trying to understand that this is coming before city council on the 22nd, right?
That is correct.
And so it would go in, there would be, and we would, because of our new format, it would stay in council for a week, right?
So it is not being referred as a public hearing. And
okay.
as I understand it, only public hearings are being held up
Okay.
for a week.
That's where my confusion was. But it looks like, I mean, it looks like depending on how quickly people could get back together, there would be time next week to have 20 or 48 hours notice to do a meeting to vote on it, since there's only a couple minutes left here. And to maybe push it forward with some proposed amendments as well, right? I mean, that would be something that when it came to city council, that we would consider, that you're saying, yeah, we agree with this in concept, but we would like to see this amendment. That would be something that we would consider. So I'm trying to get the format down here correctly, so people get to actually weigh in on this in a real way, because it seems like might be voting without everyone's thoughts being vetted, but I'll sit back and listen. I do have to be on a call in a couple minutes, so.
Right. So we're not going to act on this today. So we'll look at revised draft from Chase and trying to set up a subsequent meeting. But I would to heart, Chase, that if the city council does not have enough time to look at this, even though you've had all this public comment, there may need to be some more time for council to review this, and it may need to be pushed out to a subsequent meeting. We have 2 minutes left. Josh has got his hand up. Josh, do you have any comments?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. It's just kind of a question of semantics. We're considering the appropriateness of endorsing a draft. And my question kind of to everyone is, up until something actually gets approved by the city council, is it in theory a draft? Does that make sense? I mean, at the moment you're getting ready to vote, can something be lined out and say, no, we're going to vote on this instead of this? So in theory, we're always going to be asked to endorse a draft ahead of time. Isn't that true?
That is true. And that's kind of why I was saying you could endorse the draft with some proposed changes that would be discussed at the city council level.
And I think with that, those are all excellent comments. I think we have something of a road forward. So we've got less than a minute left. So I'm going to go ahead and adjourn the meeting on time. wish to thank everybody for all their time today, and there'll be some more discussion going forward to get ready, so we're able to act on this and provide useful feedback to the city council in the coming weeks.
I would love to sit in on that discussion if you're going to schedule another one. So thank you, everyone.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
Hey, Chris.
You too. Bye, Robin.
Take care, everybody.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Chris, I have a question.
Sure.
So I'm logging everybody out. Hang on just a second. For the notes, the meeting minutes, let me see. My screen is changing. Here I am in the other room. My computer's over here, which is why I'm looking over here. So oh, did we skip over the federal building?
Yes. Yeah, I did. I did. I didn't think we'd have a chance to address it.
Oh, okay. 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 So for the East Grab takes a little bit every once in a while. Okay. I had to move my notes from one section to another. So after Amber Sherrill asked Chase about the details related to how this would be provided to council, further discussion ensued related to the timing. So you all talked about having another meeting during which the dang it.
Is this like stenographing or something?
Yeah, pretty much. And if I get hung up on one thing and all this conversation happens, then it's very hard. I mean, I can go back and look at the video, but this is easier to get. So further discussion ensued related to the timing of a subsequent meeting to discuss what? The draft or the real one, or?
Right. This would be the revised draft that would go to the city council.
To discuss the revised draft of the MOU that would be presented to city council. So what was decided?
What was decided is that we would work to set up another meeting prior to that city council meeting to review the revised draft MOU. Sorry, too many words.
It's all right. This group will convene before the Monday, June 22nd council meeting?
Yeah, to review the revised draft and right.
Or to convene. So, but we didn't discuss a date in this meeting.
No. You know, we don't know when the revised draft will become available.
Oh, good.
What we did hear from Chase is it has to be submitted by the 18th for it to make it in front of the city council.
The referral.
Right, the referral.
To get on the agenda must, yes. Okay.
So I don't know how that influences us. As soon as this team has a revised draft, then we'll work to schedule a meeting.
Understood.
A public meeting, obviously.
Okay, so further discussion ensued related to the timing of a subsequent meeting to discuss the revised draft of the MOU that we presented to City Council. This group will convene before the Monday, 22nd, before Monday, June 22nd. To do what?
To
vote
take up, yeah,
on
the proposed resolution in support of the MOU.
Okay. All right, let me save that. And thank you for making it official in the record that Saha and Gwen showed up when they did. We were adjourned. And so what I will do now is I will prepare the minutes and publish them to the website once I've edited them and made sure they're as accurate as I can get them. And all this will be up on the website. So the same place where you went to on the calendar to see the agenda, you will be able to, once you publish the minutes, you'll be able to read those minutes there. And then at the next meeting, I will forward, I can attach, if this next meeting, and I recommend that maybe this next meeting not approve minutes, but at the next official committee meeting, that is when you would put the January, February, March, all the subsequent minutes on that agenda to review.
Right, and so we're a second Tuesday at noon is our regularly scheduled meeting.
And you'll have to work all that out with Marty on
right.
scheduling, just simply because we have to determine if Zoom is available, if this room is available. It's just a scheduling thing.
Yeah, no, I understand. Are many other boards and commissions meeting, or is very few at this point?
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah. I know all the city council boards are meeting and everything, but
right. Yeah, you'd have to look at the calendar. Since I'm not involved with other boards, I'm only involved with committees. I can't speak intelligently to that, but we could go look and see what is up there.
Yeah, and I got that calendar up.
Oh, good.
East right calendar now.
Okay.
I'll link to it. So
okay. Well, I'll get this published just as soon as I can. I'll probably take lunch and go back to the office and get it published in the next day or two, and I'll let you know when it's up.
Thanks so much for your help.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, this is
You're
great.
welcome. It's nice to officially meet you.
Yes, yeah, exactly. All right.
All right. Thank you.